Hello, and welcome back to the second installment in this 5-part series on music, Bangers with Banker. Today I am joined again with Cody Cox and Jack Calicott, and I'd like to welcome them here. Hello, guys.
Hello. Good to be back.
All right, well, we're going to dive right into this one. So this episode is going to be in regards to the popular music, just everything about the popular music and the music industry, whether it's good or bad. So many musicians who are considered to be popular and or just famous are considered to be just bad for whatever reason. Is this true, or do you guys disagree?
You know, it's not all bad. It's hard to put a blanket statement over the entirety of popular music, but I mean, I think there are elements of it that are pretty terrible, but there are definitely also a lot of artists that are popular that are pretty great. Me and Cody can both agree on that, I think.
Absolutely.
Some really good artists that we both like that are pretty popular. Radiohead. We got an episode coming up on them. I'm going to bring that up every episode until then. Kendrick Lamar. He's popular. He just won a Grammy. He's W, you know? There's definitely some terrible artists that are just put in there by, like, again, the music industry to just, like, sow streams and get money as fast as possible without actually caring about what they're doing. So, yeah, some parts of it are terrible, but the majority is pretty good.
Why do you think like these kind of people who are bad get so much popularity if you consider them to be bad music?
So I'm going to point my finger to number one case example is TikTok, the clock app, the dreaded clock app. There is if you don't know how TikTok works, there's 15-second to like 30-second sounds that will play on the app for people to dance to or sing along to or duet in however way they want. And those 15-second sound bites are meant to be like super catchy, and people are going to hear them and be like, OMG, did you hear the new sound? That is literally so crazy. But so a lot of artists now will have a song that is boring and terrible up until their TikTok moment that they know will get used as a sound. They'll just say something like, I don't know, out of pocket or weird, or they'll just it's always obvious when it happens. It's clearly just bait for teenagers to get on and dance to, and then it'll get a lot of streams as a result. More and more people will find out about it. It's just free publicity without the label actually having to do much. So that's probably why it's as terrible as it is, because I mean, it's just no one wants to listen to 2 minutes of garbage and then like 15-second like, oh, that's pretty good, and then you'll just skip the song after you hear that part, you know.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. I mean, I definitely think that industry plants are a big part of it too. Like artists who are just put there and they're given a repetitive, just simple beat, you know, they're given everything to them and they kind of just create it and put it out there. And that, like you said, that TikTok audio, I mean, Wet Leg.
Oh, my God.
And, you know, he just, glad he didn't get a Grammy. But, you know, like Steve Lacy, like the reason he got popular, I've seen a lot of things about people at his concerts just not knowing the lyrics to his other songs. They know, like, the 15-second snippet from Bad Habits and, like, from Static, like the hallway walking video. Like, that's all they know. He just got popular from TikTok. And I just think that, like, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think that's a way for people to be able to grow their music. But, like, at a certain point, if people only know 15 seconds of your song, I think that you are probably considered bad. That's just me personally. I mean, I still like Steve Lacy. I like listening to Gemini Rights, that album. So beautiful. But, like, still, just with him and a lot of other TikTok audios. I know Dua Lipa, they're decently famous without TikTok, but Levitating, that like 15-second snippet from Levitating, that's like all I knew from the song. I thought that's what it just sounded like all the time. And I go and listen to that song again and I'm just like, wow, this is completely different. TikTok really kind of just hypes songs up to be something that they're not. And I think that's a really, really big part of it.
So would you two agree that this is a somewhat serious issue with the music industry, like an actual problem that should have a solution, or just...
I mean, I'd like it to have a solution. I don't know what that would be. It's definitely a problem. It's killing artists. It's killing creativity, because it's feeding into people who just have like a 15-second glory moment and then just like completely die off, so that industry labels can just make a quick, I don't know, $10 off of them and then discard it and do it for the next person. It's like, hey, look at this new trend. Like, again, we bring up Wet Leg. I don't think either of those two members are intentionally trying to make garbage music, but they did get an unbelievable amount of streams overnight. Like, they were obviously, this isn't TikTok's fault. No one really, I didn't hear any of their songs on TikTok ever, except for a bunch of ads that I'm getting for it right now after the Grammys have already been said and done. But they got stream boosted pretty hard. I mean, it's just clear signs of being an industry plant, and then they won their Grammy. And I don't think they're ever even going to release a new album. I don't think the label's going to do anything with them anymore. And maybe that'll be good for them. Maybe they'll be able to make more interesting music afterwards as a result. But I mean, the industry can kill. I mean, can completely kill their career in like seconds.
So I have a follow-up question. Has the issue of like the quick like songs being built around one good part but the rest of it being bad, and which has come about or just had a lot of light shed on it by TikTok, has this been a problem for a long time, or is it just recently started to
I really
problem?
think that it's probably just about when TikTok came out, because that was kind of the whole point of it. Like, you'd get these like snippets of songs and it would just be a trend to like dance to it or whatever. And I think that like that just started influencing. And I don't necessarily think it's always been as bad as it's been right now, but it has grown from that. So like it's bad now, and I think it's just gonna keep getting worse. Like, for example, there's this one song I heard, and I was just like, wow, that sounds really good. I'm gonna add that to my playlist. And I go and listen to the rest of the song, and I'm just like, none of these lyrics or like the beat involved or the melody involved are as good as that snippet that you hear on TikTok. And I think that it's just created a culture where people make music around TikTok audios. So like they're like, I can afford to spend less effort, less resources, less time on making the rest of this song if I just make this one 15-second part just absolutely amazing. And I definitely think that is bad.
And see, that's exactly, I mean, like, you get your 15-second thing, you have the part that's good, and then you add it to your playlist. That boosts their revenue. That is what they wanted. And then it doesn't matter. It's like, oh, well, this is terrible. They don't care. They already got the money off you that they needed. I mean, future streams, and people are probably going to keep coming back for that one 15-second piece and then skip it. But that still counts as a play, even though Spotify only gives like a 17th of a penny for every stream. But, I mean, it's better than nothing.
I mean, it's kind of like music clickbait, really.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it is like
yeah.
music clickbait, yeah.
So, based off of that, are there any like music labels or just the music industry? Are there any parts of the music industry that are good, or is it all just bad and for money?
There are good labels. I think Domino, they have Arctic Monkeys, they have Animal Collective, they have all the things, and they support those artists. They give them full revenue. They give them a lot of the cuts of the merch that they sell. A lot of labels will just like sign. Okay, Mario Judah, right? He starts off, he's super popular. TikTok, everyone loves him. He's great. I mean, well, okay. He starts off getting made fun of because his voice is weird and he says weird things and he's kind of out of pocket and strange and bizarre and he kind of scares me. But his music is good and people did like him. And then he released Whole Lotta Red, like his EP, making like trying to build up to Cardi's Whole Lotta Red hype. And then everyone loved it and it's like, wow, this is really good. And then he gets into a bad record deal, a terrible record deal where he gets like no profits, is not allowed to release music for like a year. And now you do. Where the freak is Mario Judah, as his
I haven't seen
prod
him like
tag
that.
says. No one knows where he is. He is gone. He hasn't made any statements. He hasn't released any music. He released 4 songs last year, as opposed to like 20 or 30 from the year before. And then he's trapped, literally. And he's making money, but obviously he's not happy with it. I mean, I don't think he seemed genuinely passionate for what he was doing. And again, the industry killed him. So there are bad labels, but then again, there are good ones that actually are trying to make a deal with the artist to boost them into popularity and make them successful and give them a career.
Not to mention that his verse on Mr. Rage was just so much better
Fire.
than Trippie Redd's. And, you know, nothing against Trippie Redd. I love listening to him, but no one wants to sit there and hear,
Dude, everything against Trippie Redd. That guy
Like-
sucks.
like, that is just not as good as what Mario Judah added to that. Those ad-libs, the first time I heard instantly out of my playlist. Instantly. That was just so, it was just different than anything I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah. So, would you say there's more bad labels than there are good labels? So, would you guys say there are more bad labels than good labels, or vice versa?
Okay, so there's so much that even I'm not exposed to. I'm sure there's tons of labels that are good and tons that are bad, but from my limited knowledge, I mean, 90% of the artists you hear, the label is not there for the artist at all. They don't care about their creative process. They don't care about when they want to make music. They just want the next radio banger that's going to bring them in some cash. Everyone's just a little cash cow for big stinky labels like that. So I'd say the majority are probably pretty terrible. But I mean, again, there are good ones for sure. Domino, I'm going to keep bringing them up till they finally take me on and sign me.
I mean, I definitely have to agree with that. Most of the time, when I've heard people get interviewed about like their old record deals or their old label deals, it's really just like, oh, well, they didn't really care about what I wanted to do, blah, 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 all in it for the money, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, especially with like the deals that are like, you have to release this much music in this much, like, in this X amount of days, or like you're not keeping up your contract. So like putting that kind of like restraint on somebody, it can really like hurt their mental processing and their creative like input. So I just think that like most of the time they're on a very big time crunch, or like just there are so many restrictions on them. And honestly, they probably have to run it by their label whenever they want to drop a song. So it's not even up to the people if their music gets out or not. It's, you know, left up to the label.
As an artist, how can you avoid those kind of labels? Like, are you forced to join these labels, or
Read
just not
the
knowing?
contract. I mean, just read the contract. Some people will just like a lot of people have managers or people who represent them, and then they will just trust those managers. Like, yeah, this is definitely the best deal for me. In the case of Mario Judah, his manager advised against that, but Mario was just blinded by getting money, I guess, for a little bit. So he just took up a bad deal. And I mean, he could have read the contract and he could have figured it out. But sometimes you can read something and then still think it's good, and there's just no way around it. These companies, they're going to phrase things in the way that's going to make you want to join, obviously. So even if it is a terrible deal, they're going to set it up to be like the best deal of all time. So it is kind of a trick. There are ways to prevent it, but I mean, at some level, they know what they're doing, and they've done this a trillion times. So if it was like a brand new label, you could probably finesse them for a swag bag or something, but there's just really no way to work around some of the corporate giants that rule music, you know? So, yeah.
It's kind of like just weird to think about. I never thought about like a shady people running the whole music industry. You know?
It's pretty bad.
Certain people rule all. I mean, there's just, even in something as creative and supposed to be free as music, I mean, it really is just, it can get pretty soulless.
Can like individual artists who get big without a label, if that's even possible, can they just start their own label? Is that possible?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so Phil Elverum, right? He's the guy I talked about who made the Boom album that's just like pretty much sounds besides that. He has his own. It's called P.W. Elverum and Son. P.W. Elverum is his initials. Phil Wright, maybe Elverum and Son. And he made his own record label, and he took on some other artists like Adrian Orange and other people like that. I think Julie Duran, that's her name. It's so, yeah, you can definitely do it. He got big on his own. He just went around touring in his local city, and people were like, yo, this guy kicks. And then there's a video of him performing and an album live recording in Bloomington, Indiana, so not far from us.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I thought about buying it, then I realized I need to not spend all my money on stupid garbage, so I didn't. I decided against it. But yeah, he started small, and then he got big. There's plenty of artists that started small and got big that didn't have any kind of label involvement, or they just made their own label. I'm trying to think of someone. Jack Stauber, hey, he had nothing. That dude still has nothing. He is literally the only people he worked. DistroKid. DistroKid is a way that you can just like send out your own music without having to have it sent through a label or anything. It's something that like tiny independent artists can do to get it put on Apple Music or Spotify without having to have a label. So that's just kind of what he used. I don't think he uses anything else now, but he did start his own called Plopscotch Records, I think that's what it's called, which is a silly little name, but it is his own label that he can use, and he can produce what he wants. Like, he is obviously not doing that for money. He has not put out an album in like 5 years. He hasn't even made a YouTube video in like 2 years. He just does not care at all. He's just there to make good music, and when it gets released, it gets released. So there are ways to prevent having to get tricked by a big fat money hungry pig boy. So
do you think as time goes on that artists will continue to be controlled by these labels, or will they kind of figure out a way around it, and in the future there'll be less and less of this issue? This could be one of the solutions to the new issue of bad songs from labels.
I mean, I definitely think that it'll be a reoccurring issue, but with the opening of TikTok, I think that people are easily getting more and more popular by themselves. So I don't think people necessarily have to sign a record deal or a label to get with like the new and get on like the leaderboards. But with that, I mean, you have to do everything independently. You have no guidance really unless you hire people or know some people. You really just, you're producing by yourself, you're putting it out there by yourself, you're advertising by yourself. So I think that it may or may not be a reoccurring problem, but with the opening of TikTok, I think people have just more options than just immediately going and signing with a record label.
Yeah, and so kind of to that point, has it been getting better lately, or
No.
So has it been getting worse?
So, okay, the thing with TikTok, to kind of not counter, but like go along with what Cody said, but also kind of counter it at the same time, there are a lot of tiny artists who are able to just go big on their own from like a TikTok thing, but then these people who have no experience being famous literally just blew up overnight. They don't know how to handle the fame. They get contacted by a million people who all want to make money off them, and then that they're even more susceptible. They didn't have a gradual entrance. They didn't have any kind of way to test the waters. They're just getting thrown in like a newborn baby into a pool of lava. There is no way for that baby to get out, and they are going to get snatched up by the lava dragon. There is just no way for them to know. It's like, okay, so like in YouTube with Call Me Carson or whatever, he's just a dude from Indiana. He did not know how to handle any kind of fame, and then he started like molesting people electronically. So, not very cool. Electronically, it sounds like a robot did it. I mean, like you know what I mean. He like messaged people
Online.
inappropriately. He used his power, which he had earned himself. I mean, like good for him, but he used it in the wrong way, and he didn't know what to do with it. But there's not really a label you can have for that. You just have like a manager. But even then, that can't stop bad decisions. So even if you're an artist, there's nothing that can fight off. Like, I think it's going to get worse. I mean, now that there is TikTok and it's going to keep promoting young little babies who don't know what they're doing, and they're just going to see the first thing they see. It's like, oh, that's a great deal. No reason to fight that. And then, I mean, hopefully you'd have a manager or a friend or a buddy that's going to be there for you and is going to help you pick out the right thing for you. But, I mean, even then an artist could be like, oh, you don't want what's best for me. You want what's best for you. And then I don't need a manager. And then, you know, it's just how it is, I guess.
Back to the idea of a small creator just blowing up out of nowhere and then being picked up by a large label and becoming part of that industry. Would you say after he joins that industry or label, that kind of destroys his creativeness and he's just no longer to get inspired? Will that affect that? Will it become about money less than...
I mean, so it depends. I mean, so there's certain artists that will hopefully find a label that wants to put them out so that they can make their own art. They want to support that because they know that for hardcore music listeners or super music 4chan Reddit nerds that are going to be on all the message boards finding the albums with like 7 monthly listeners so they can say they got there first, that is going to help them out the most, is having people who actually care about what they want, and then like they don't have to worry about meeting any kind of schedule. They don't have to worry about making money for them. It's just they do what they want. Pretty much. And then, I mean, yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, so I kind of want you to name drop now. You know, I want to know who are these artists who are just, in your opinion, who are perceived as popular, but you would argue that their music is not very good at all.
Dude, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, Lil Wayne, all those garbage.
Okay, man, hold on.
Man, I just like hit you with that.
Yeah, you hit me with that Luffy stare, and that was terrifying. Yeah, no, obviously I don't mean that. I love Kendrick, and I don't want to say I love Kanye, but I love Kanye like Kanye loves Kanye. So I
miss the old Kanye,
I miss the old Kanye. Send on this gold Kanye. Yeah, that's my bad. Wet Leg. Well, no one actually really likes them. There's like 5 people that like them. They make such bad music, dude. It's so annoying. It's like bare minimum trying to be different without actually being different. I'm not going to go on a Wet Leg hate train because I could go for like 10 hours because I genuinely hate them so much, and I can't believe they won a Grammy. But, well, I can believe it. I just wish it weren't reality.
It's a nightmare.
Kendrick won one. That made up.
I don't know her name, but the girl that made the ABCDEFU song. She just, I know.
Gail is her name. I think it's either Gail. I think it's Gail.
No idea what her name is, but and that's prevalent. I mean, she's popular, but like that music is so horrible.
It is. Oh
that is just.
It's so bad. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing redeemable. It doesn't mean anything. It is the most basic attention grab for teens who just broke up with their boyfriend/girlfriend to immediately cling to and be like, yeah, you know what? ABCDEFU too. And your mom and your dad.
Another one related to that is Olivia Rodrigo. I cannot stand her music.
All right. Well, here comes Jack. I liked Sour fine. It wasn't great, but I think that a lot of Driver's License. Oh man,
that one got too much hype. That one to me, no, that's just not it.
It is not a good song. I do not like that song, but there are some parts that show promise. I think she could actually be a good artist if she tries, but for all I know, she won't try and she doesn't care about anything. Like Gail. Okay, so she had this concert recently. And too many people think they're funny, and they're not funny. Like tiny artists, again, with blowing up out of nowhere, not knowing how to handle your fame, thinking like, oh, this joke works with my 5 friends. Let me say it again. And she was like, knock, knock, who's there? Not my dad. It's like, that's not funny.
Oh my God, I saw that.
Yeah, everyone has seen that video, and everyone clowned on her for it because that's not funny, like edgy online humor. That's all she knows at this point because she hasn't had a real life experience. So hopefully she'll grow out of that. I don't want any of these people to like die or
Right.
continue making bad music forever. I hope they can turn around and actually make something good. But as I see it right now, she sucks horribly. I do not like anything she makes.
So, are there any other names you want to drop? Anything that comes to mind?
Dude, I could go on forever. It would be no end. I don't like Taylor Swift at all.
Taylor
I think
Swift.
she's like absolutely overrated garbage. She has a couple songs I think are
Uh,
pretty
that-
cute and that I
You know,
like.
that's-
August is pretty good. Some cuts from Folklore are pretty good. But see, here's a guy I hate. Jack Antonoff. He goes around and he produces these soft, warm country folky albums for people, for like Taylor Swift to make songs like Folklore, or not a song, album like Folklore, or Clairo. He got to Clairo. He got to every woman in Phoebe Bridgers too, maybe every woman he could, and gave them the exact same sound of just them singing softly, guitar. Then they get a little loud. It's like, oh, they're angry. You know, it's the same thing every time. It's so predictable. There's no excitement there. I hate Jack Antonoff so much, and I hope that he stops making music forever and gives up. I know I said I don't want people to just give up. I hope he gives up. There's no room for that man to go.
He's just too bad.
Hopping on that Taylor Swift train, I really think that she is the equivalent of if Olivia Rodrigo and Gail like got popular.
Yeah.
I think that is what they're going to turn into, and I just don't think half of her music is the exact same. All she does is write breakup songs. I mean, I don't know recently, but just like
It's the same.
I just can't get into it. I don't understand it. It's the same flow. It's the same meaning over and over and over.
It is cookie cutter, filler, garbage meant to sell out. Like, oh, Adele. Man,
Oh, you guys
she
are-
bloated
There's
the
no way.
vinyl record thing so hard. She produced like 30 million vinyl copies of her thing. And go to any Target, any Walmart, any like Barnes and Noble, and you're gonna find that vinyl there because no one wants it. They did not match demand at all. They were just like, oh, Adele, let's give her 1 million records and
Yeah.
hope people buy it. No one wants it because Adele sucks and no one likes her music anymore.
You guys
These
got me
artists-
jumped.
Nah, by Adele.
This is-
Yeah,
this is
Adele
dangerous.
and her
Yeah.
Adele
supporters,
and Taylor
yeah, okay.
fans. Don't worry. Yeah, Allie might come for us, dude.
Yeah, I'm definitely afraid.
So, all of the people you've dropped, name dropped, you've talked about them in. That is really. It seems like that's your opinion.
Yeah.
No, it's fact.
Well,
that is
well, to us, it's
largely
probably
your
fact.
opinion. For you, maybe it's fact. But is there any way you can know if an artist is just objectively bad? Like, I know music is up to the listener, but is
Music
there?
is subjective.
Right, it's
Well-
subjective. But is there a way to like determine whether this like artist is just objectively terrible?
I have two
Yeah.
words for you, Sai. Wet leg. They're objectively terrible because they were planted by an industry that was solely made for profit. And I think that they're terrible because of that. They did not have any passion for it. They did not try. Now, again, those are kind of by my means, so maybe that's not objective. But I think there are some artists who, I mean, again, it's subjective. So I don't know that you could say anyone is objectively terrible. But in their desire to make music, I can say, like, again, Wet Leg, they are objectively terrible in my opinion because they don't care. And anything part of it that they do care about, it doesn't add up to anything ever. Like, it never comes to any kind of meaningful fruition. Nothing they try succeeds. So, I mean, well, again, okay, that's opinion.
Right.
But, okay, so for objectiveness, no. I don't think you can say anyone is objectively terrible.
I think that, I mean, you could. It's just that, like, since it's subjective but objective at the same time, it's hard to really go into. For example, just like when people first start out, the production quality of their music, the flow, the melody, like, that is going to be terrible. There's really no way around it unless you are just some musical genius and you're a prodigy of, like, your kind.
Like Ice Spice.
Yeah. Oh, never mind. I found somebody who's objectively terrible. No, I can't say that. She went hard on that new Pink Panther song.
Yes, she did.
Anyway, Pink Panthers is the best, and I will not take any slander. But
Mhm.
but just like, for example, Suicide Boys, when they were first starting out, like, they weren't very popular, and it really just has to pertain with the way they were producing their music. So,
Yeah.
like, they're not objectively terrible, and I like them a lot, to be quite honest, and I know that they are very popular. I think they were on the top 100 for, like, the most streams last year, and I think they were top 20 maybe. But it's just like when they were first starting out, the way that they would produce their music, their melodies, their lyrics, the way they flowed, obviously it was not as good as it is now. So I think back then, yes, they were objectively terrible, but
Yeah.
now they are better, and I think everyone has that room to grow.
Yeah, and my limited knowledge, I'd say it's hard to be objectively terrible because, I mean, unless you don't know how to use the instruments, somebody's gonna like it for some reason, right? And even if you said like it's terrible because, say they're doing it just for the money and there's no passion, well, if they're doing it for the money, they're going to do it in a way where some people like it. So there's really no way to have a terrible song, just everybody hates it, unless it's somebody like me who just can't play instruments at all and just
Yeah,
like,
I mean, okay, so even, man, yeah, no, there's always someone who's just going to eat up even the worst garbage and be like, this is actually avant-garde, post-rock, mellow fusion, Dramamine. Like, people will attribute anything to make it feel like it's meaningful, when in reality, some people just like things, but they feel like they have to attribute some kind of meaning to it, or like it's actually good. Some of the stuff I listen to, I can say objectively, it is not good. It is
Yeah.
not good music. It is not made with taste. It is not made with talent. Captain Beefheart and his magic band. Frownland. That song is garbage. But people are like, oh, they're actually playing 10 different polyrhythms, and each one is in sync in their own musical world. And when they come clashing together, it creates this beautiful dissonant cacophony of pure overjoy. And it's like, no, it's actually garbage. It actually sucks is what that is. But I love it, and I listen to it every day. And I bought it on vinyl when I was with you at wherever, Landlocked.
spend
That's a name
$200.
drop. Yeah, but it sucks. It's awful. But I think some of the songs are just him singing over dead silence. There's nothing. It's just, and his voice is awful. He's like, no wind falls. It's so bad. Everything about it is terrible.
Yeah, no. If I'm gonna name drop, John Frusciante, you know,
He's
as
so
you two
mid,
know,
dude. He's
I
so
love
mid.
him. I love John Frusciante, but 1994, Neandra Lay Dace and just a T-shirt. You know, My Smile Is a Rifle. Play that for anyone else, and they are going to turn it off. That song is genuinely so horrible. Half of the song is him screaming like Tom and Jerry, genuinely.
Dude, people eat that up.
No one except for me likes that song. There's no way.
Black Midi.
So, yeah, for sure. And
For sure.
yeah, yes, I agree with you too, for sure, for sure. Right. So let's go into a kind of hypothetical, right?
Okay.
Would you rather be a creator and make a one-hit wonder and become pretty popular and make a decent living off of that, but it's not really what you wanted, and it's more like you went for the money and not really the passion, but you were able to kind of like almost sell out and make your money? Or would you rather have a whole career of music you love and stuff you're really passionate about, but you never get popular and you never sell really all that much?
Okay, so like, all right, I don't have to be a millionaire, but if I'm making like $5 a month on the thing, I'm gonna go for that one-hit wonder just so like, and then I could just make more garbage on the side, you know? And maybe if not, well, no, that's not the hypothetical. The hypothetical is I have to make one song that's really
so
good.
one
and
song
then-
that's really good.
Dude, I don't know if I could just stop putting out music after that. Well, I could still make songs, right? I just couldn't share them with anyone.
Yeah, like you're not gonna be able to make money
Or
off of
debut-
your
okay.
passionate music.
Fine. Wait, can't make money. I can still put them out
I
there?
mean, you could put them out, but you're not going to make any. You're not
Okay,
going to
well
impact
then-
anyone's lives with these things.
Oh, okay. Well, then that kind of sucks. Then I guess I'd rather have. So how little money are we talking
Oh,
about?
you could live off of it, but you're going to be.
I could live off of it.
You're gonna
Live off
be
of it in a
well-
dumpster, or live off of it in a penthouse in New York. Like, how am I living off of it?
You're going to live off of it, like, let's say you're making, I don't know, 50, 60K a year.
Oh my god, bro.
So you're not famous.
Off of that one-hit wonder?
No. This is for
Oh,
like.
for the other
yeah, I'm
option.
trying to find out
Okay,
because
okay.
that obviously I want to be the person who makes the good music, but for only how much would I make for the one hit wonder comparatively?
Well, I'm talking like you're one of
Like
those
in
TikTok
royalties?
people who are just like who really blew up. Like,
That's money forever, dude. Every time that appears in like a movie, I'll get royalties in the mail.
but you'll never have your passion. in
But
the
I'll
music.
never have anything that for 50 to 60K living solo, because that's kind of what I plan to do.
Oh,
I guess.
okay. Living solo. Let's say like 30, 40K for solo.
Shut up! Why are you
Yeah.
making it worse, dude? It already sucks. 30, 40K,
Yeah.
dude. I can't.
You can't live on that.
No, I could never buy new
Okay,
equipment. If I wanted to
okay.
buy a trumpet for my band, I just have to like tape it together with like.
Okay,
horns.
let's go back to the original. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, 50 to 60, then
Yeah.
I'd do it. 30
You
to
do
40,
that?
I'd probably still do it, honestly.
Really?
Yeah,
I think I'd have to agree.
Yeah,
You're not a sellout?
I'm not a sellout.
It's not even that I'm not a sellout. It's just like I enjoy making music that much, and like if it's still like decently popular, like not obviously one-hit wonder level, but the fact that it's like like John Frusciante, he flew largely under the radar until he joined Red Hot Chili Peppers, and even then, do you know how many monthly listeners he has? He only has
Yeah.
700,000.
That seems like a lot to me.
That's
the
a
Red Hot
bad-
Chili Peppers were extremely popular in the,
Well,
in
yeah.
the 90s.
That's true. Yeah.
And he himself only has 700,000 monthly listeners now. So like, yeah, that's a lot, but like comparatively to what it was and what he could have been, that is like nothing. And so I really think that instead of being that one-hit wonder, I would rather just have a few people, and not a few people, but like couple thousand, couple 100,000, whatever it is, and just like be able to put the music out there that I want to put out there and make what I want to make, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, I don't want the money, honestly. I would sell out
So
immediately.
you have no passion. That's why we're here
I
to
don't have
inform
any
you that
passion,
that's the
really.
wrong choice.
Well, that's also why you're a business major and not a music major like
yeah,
us.
so you only
That's
care
true.
about you only care about money.
That's not true.
Sure.
When it comes to music, yes, for sure.
Mm.
Who would you say the best popular artist in your opinion are? Like, not people who fly the under, not your weird goofy music, like
Weird
just
okay,
popular
thank you for calling
popular
it weird
artist.
goofy music. That makes me feel really good.
I've heard it before, so it's weird and goofy.
Okay, shut up. You like it, dude. Every time I play a song in the car, you're like, "This is the best thing I've ever heard in my life. Please keep playing it over and over again." You literally say those
Not
exact
true.
words.
Not true.
That's not true. Who is the greatest popular artist? Who's the greatest?
Yeah, just in your opinion.
Who is the greatest popular artist? Ooh, I have my answer. I wonder if Cody and I could say it at the exact same time.
I
It'd
have
be
my
great.
answer.
All right, I'll give you a hint.
Wait,
It's one dude.
So it's an artist, right?
Yeah, artist. It's not a band. Okay, are we gonna say the same thing? All right, Sai, can you count us down, please?
3, 2, 1.
Kendrick Lamar. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's what I wanted. Yeah, he's a genius. I mean, I'm glad that
The
he's as
big
popular as
steppers.
he is. Every single thing he's ever done has been literally. He has been building up a narrative in his albums for the past like 5 albums, and they're all building. And it's genius. I don't know how I could never do. Even on the smallest levels of artists I've seen, he is undoubtedly the most genius person I've ever encountered in music.
All of his features on songs, dude. His feature on Goosebumps, I can't.
It gives
get
me
over
those goosebumps every time. Yeah.
It genuinely gives me goosebumps. His newest album, Big Steppers, damn, just all of them, they flow together so perfectly.
I mean, I could.
It is unbelievable.
We need a Kendrick Lamar episode, dude. I mean, I could talk about how. If I start, I'm never gonna stop.
Wesley's
so we
Theory?
just gotta move on.
Wesley's Theory.
Stop. You have to stop.
That is the best start of an album I've
it-
ever heard.
It is definitely the best start of an album I've ever heard in my life.
Would you
Actually,
say
that's not true.
Would you say like you like him more because his music is like a story, or is it because you just like the beat, you like the lyrics, you like how it sounds?
He is so original.
He is an unbelievable storyteller, an unbelievable lyricist, an unbelievable composer, producer. Every single aspect in music in which one could be good, he's good in, including being popular. He hits every niche for every human alive. He is Jesus a lot, dude.
He is music
Literally.
Jesus.
I'd have to agree. Everything about him, he just hits every mark perfectly. I have not listened to a song and been like, wow, I don't like that Kendrick song. There's not a single Kendrick song I don't like. Granted, I haven't necessarily listened to all of his music, but I have listened to a lot of it, and there is not a single song that I listened to and I dropped it. All of his songs, they are just such perfect cacophonies and they mesh so well together. And albums, listening to entire albums, it is literally like hearing an entire story.
Does Kendrick Lamar have a label, or is he a solo guy?
Top Dog Records, but after this album, he dropped them. This was his final. Well, he didn't drop them, but they parted. It wasn't like yo, I'm done. It was just like I don't want to do this. We're parting ways. We're going on. So he did, for Top Dog Entertainment, have like 5 records or however many he had up to this point. I think he didn't get signed for his first album. Then he got signed starting at like Section 80, and it kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's not doing that anymore. So he's probably going to keep making. He's going to keep making music. But I think, what I hope is that without Top Dog to kind of like somewhat coach him around, he might go even more experimental, even more in depth. Because I even think Mr. Morale at some points is like pretty far out there. A lot of his records are. I mean, some of it is just like on To Pimp a Butterfly. It's just jazz. I mean, it's like him just rapping with no rhythm or anything, and I love it. I think it's incredible, and a lot of people agree that it is really good. But I mean, it's like it's not traditional, and I hope that he breaks that mold even further and makes it even less traditional and can be more. What was the question? It's Kendrick Lamar.
No, I was asking you. Whoa.
Best popular artist,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I was asking you. Okay,
Yeah.
talking about his best popular artist, and I was asking you what label he goes for, and
Yeah, Top Dog, and Top Dog's a great record label, but I think he's going to do really well without them as well.
so he's gonna go solo.
Yeah, I mean, he's still,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. He's still solo, but he's going to be his own independent artist. He's going to go independent, is how I'd phrase that.
He's still popular without his record label.
All right. Well, we've talked a bunch of great stuff, but we're gonna take a small break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about maybe more about Kendrick Lamar. We'll talk about the Grammys.
Please.
and
The Grammy, dude.
it'll be fun. So we'll be back. Welcome back. let's jump right into these next few questions.
Let's get right into the news.
Let's get right into the news.
Sorry.
So we were talking about Kendrick Lamar and
We
how
were.
he is your favorite goat, I guess, of the
Yeah.
music and of the popular music industry right now. And he is popular, right?
Yes.
Would
very
you-
much so.
Is he your favorite artist above the non-popular ones that you like, or just of the popular artists is he your favorite?
I have artists that I consider better than. I think I have like 2 or 3
Two.
artists that I think are better outside of just Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
I could name them, and I'm not going to because then that's a whole new thing. That's episode 4. Okay,
Yeah,
so we'll do
right.
that later. Yeah, no, he in the popular music scheme. No one else comes
No one
close.
else.
Radiohead is pretty great and they're pretty popular, but I prefer Kendrick. I take Kendrick any day. Radiohead is mid in Midiohead in comparison.
Yeah,
to
that's where we
Kendrick
differ.
Yeah,
That's
Kendrick
where we
Lamid.
differ.
You think he's Kendrick Lamid compared to Radiohead?
Absolutely.
Dude.
All right. Well, we talked about Kendrick being the best artist in your guys' opinion, and you both agreed, which was kind of nice.
Thank you.
What is your favorite popular song? Not artist, but song.
Current song's like super popular. Boy's a Liar Part 2. with
Oh,
Pink
come
Panther-
on, dude.
With Pink Pantheress and Ice Spice it's so good.
Right.
It is so good.
I have been
don't-
on that train since she first started releasing music, and I will stay on that train until I die.
Is it a beautiful soliloquy that paints their struggles as an artist and their problems with record labels like Kendrick Lamar? It is not at all. It is not. But is it a banger that gets my toes wiggling every time? Yes.
I don't sleep enough with that. Like, that just goes so hard. I don't like Ice Spice at all, but
Grandma,
her
my
verse
brrrah.
was
You know,
just so...
Can you do that? Can you roll your R's?
Grrrah,
Yeah. She grab my drrrah. I can't do it.
grandma drrrah.
Yeah, oh, it's so good, dude.
Yeah, I love. It's just
Her
that
cadence
song.
and her flow is improving. You
It
can
really
tell a
is.
noticeable difference. Than you thought I was feeling you. That feller's a munch. You know, it's like it's not. It felt a lot less caring or intentional, but now it's like, whatever the words are. You know, it's like she's changing and getting a lot better. You know, kind of like how Kendrick Lamar got. Is she the next Kendrick? I
Oh,
mean, maybe.
Not to mention that Pink Pantheress is getting very, very popular. So popular, in fact, she had a feature with Lil Uzi Vert. Okay,
Oh.
so just throwing
Lil
that out
Uzi,
there.
That's crazy.
Little boozy. Why did I say that?
So on the topic of popular songs and artists, what are your guys' thoughts on the Grammys and how it went and who got what?
I hate the
every
Grammys.
every year they're terrible. Every single
Terrible.
year they're terrible. It is 2019.
I can't even fathom. I agree with what Eminem said, dude. When he said that he was going to stop going to the Grammys, he was just so right.
Everyone should
Literally.
boycott the Grammys, please.
It is
dear God.
just a popularity contest, and they put up there who they want up there. They don't do it based on what the people want, based on what the numbers say, based on what the statistics are. They put up who they want up there, and it does not matter.
That is a good point. It's a popularity contest, but it's not based on popularity. It is some weird psycho pseudo popularity contest that is built around the worst aspects of music culture that promotes the worst, never recognizes anyone who's good except for Kendrick, obviously. Sometimes they give out the right award, right?
Right.
But in 2019, let me paint you a picture of who was nominated that year. Travis Scott's Astroworld was one of the albums, right?
One of the best albums ever made.
Who you hear about that every day. Sicko Mode, that was the Super Bowl. This guy was
Right.
nominated. Daytona by Pusha T, one of my favorite rap albums of all time, was there. The Blank Face LP by School by Q, 2 of my very favorites. And then everyone was like, oh, it's going to be one of these 3. Because the 4th album, this isn't going to win. Invasion of Privacy by Cardi B. Who even heard of it? It won. It won. How over those 3 are legendary. They are talked about today frequently. They had a lot of influence, a lot of features, a lot of love went into them, produced beautifully. I'm not one of those people who's like, Cardi B's a woman, so she's terrible. But that album is not her best work at all, and it's not good. It is bad. Nothing about that album I'm like, I return to. Do you hear ever in conversation, hey, Invasion of Privacy by Cardi B? No, you don't. You hear Astroworld, you hear Daytona, you hear Blank Face LP. I forgot the name. Yeah, those are it's just so bizarre to me because it felt like they were just trying to spread a message. I don't know what that message would be, but there's no way that any panel of judges thought that was the best album released that year because it just
Genuinely.
wasn't.
There was so much released. And those names, those have been big and stay big. those were big when like I was a kid. I knew who I knew who Pusha T was, and I knew who Schoolboy Q was. My father listens to them. He knows who they are, and they have been popular for years and years and years. And I understand wanting to make more people popular, but if you have a popularity contest like the Grammys, make it a popularity contest.
True.
Do not just put people up there to put them up there.
Real.
Here's a conspiracy
Preach.
theory. I'm thinking maybe they're paying them off. You know, artists are paying to be
What?
up there. You
Dude,
know?
There
it
is
would not
no
surprise
way.
me. But
Dude.
also, they're like the biggest music name ever and the biggest music award, so I don't really know how you could pay them off.
Hey,
With
who
money,
knows,
with
dude?
like
You have to-
labels,
so much
they will
money.
it is. There's no way that.
Well, labels
yeah,
make
you're right.
make a lot of money, so they could just pay them off. If they're like, hey, I want this person from my label up there, put 'em up there.
Publicity. They want what? Cardi B in 2019. Had you even heard of Cardi B?
No.
No, you hadn't. Until the label was like, hey, Grammys, here's $10 trillion. Please promote our terrible artist. And then they do. Not terrible. That's not cool. She has some fire verses like on Rodeo with Lil
Oh, I
Nas
was going
gonna
X.
say
that one.
That is a fire verse through and through. WAP. I
It's
like
just-
that song. That's a
Personally,
fun
that
one.
album was not better than the other ones featured at the
No.
Grammys.
It just wasn't.
I genuinely think most people will agree with that, which, going back to popularity contest, would make them more popular than that album.
True. You said that kind of like with an Irish. What make them more popular than that album? The
I'm
accentuation
getting
of
mad,
that.
man.
Yeah.
I'm getting heated.
Your
dude.
inner Scotland man.
It is making me so angry thinking about that.
I can practically see
That's
the
why I
plaid
stopped watching
kilt.
the Grammys. I stopped watching the Grammys after that.
You guys are definitely bashing the Grammys.
Oh, absolutely.
Possibly rightfully so. However, are there in your memory? Have there been any good Grammys? Like just the
Like
whole,
an entire
yeah,
year
a
being
whole
good?
year just being good.
Okay, so in 2020, The Strokes won for the New Abnormal. Or that was the 2021 Grammys, I
Well,
think, for the year
2022.
2020. Yeah.
Big Steppers won, didn't it?
This year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it won.
So that one was
And
good.
then
That one was
Harry-
absolutely warranted.
Right.
That one was good. But then again, Wet Leg came in and stole from Big Thief. And that's on episode 4. I'm going to talk about Big Thief plenty.
Ooh.
And Simulation Swarm, which should have won Best Song of the Decade, but it didn't, sadly. It's fine. I don't care. I'm not mad. I am mad. But it's... So, no, there's just no year where I think it is across the board. I'd have to look at some of the lists and evaluate it more closely from earlier decades and eras and stuff. But from recent memory, no. None have I been like, oh, yeah, that was a good Grammys.
I think maybe it was 2002 and 2003 when Eminem, Christina Aguilera, sorry.
That's right.
She was the one introducing the Grammys, and Eminem won. I think that was warranted. I don't actually remember which year that was though.
Yeah, there are warranted picks
It's
sometimes.
just there are in recent, there are so many where there are just better picks, and every single person's public opinion that just gets shot down by like these minuscule, lesser known artists. And yes, it is good to incorporate them, but again, it is a popularity contest, and you're not taking popularity into account.
If you're going by popularity or best, what is considered best or what they think is best, best is subjective, popularity is not. It is a mix of best and popularity. So popularity should automatically boost to, say, Astroworld by Travis Scott up near the top. And then a lot of people agree that is a very good, sonically pleasing, well-produced, good, well-thought-out album. Invasion of Privacy by Cardi B is none of those things. It doesn't try to be any of those things, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be this grand, beautiful, grandiose, magnum opus type statement. But if it's going to win a Grammy, and if you're putting it up against something that is like that, there's no point. Don't nominate it for a Grammy if you're not trying to be a Grammy winner. It didn't feel like she was trying. It didn't feel like, here, let me make an album so I can get a Grammy right now. This is my best possible work. She didn't care about it. It didn't feel like there was any love in that. To me, I guess.
Absolutely.
Would it be safe to say then that the Grammys are not a trustworthy source for good?
Yeah, just like the
Artists.
Oscars
Absolutely
or the
not.
Emmys.
Absolutely
I don't trust them.
not.
So as somebody who doesn't pay attention to music, I should not be watching the Grammys to
Watch
see
them.
who's popular.
It's important
No,
to know who
they're-
wins the Grammys because that's going to dictate a lot of trends, such as Cardi B
They
kind of
are
rising to
interesting
fame.
to watch.
And I like just reading the list afterwards, and it
Yeah.
can put you onto some good artists sometimes, popular or lesser known. Like even if you just look at the nominations, like Big Thief, they were nominated, but they got big thieved of their epic Grammy. So
Absolutely.
yeah, there was. It's just sad. It's good. It's good to pay attention to for sure. It's a big deal. It's really a big part of the culture, but
And I'm
taking
guessing
it,
it's
yeah, don't take
It's
it.
just when you know enough about music like us, and I'm not saying that you're like lesser
Right,
than us,
I-
but it's just
You
like
are a normie.
I
when
am,
you,
for
when you
sure.
know as much as we do, and you look at the Grammys, you can just see like when you know the different melodies, when you know how much effort went into it, when you just notice every little piece of a song and every little piece of sweat, blood, and tears that an artist put into something, and it loses to something like that, you're gonna get heated on their behalf because you love this artist, you love the music they're making, and you hate seeing it go down like that.
Right. And so the Grammys are more of just something that are to be entertaining than to actually inform you about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just to get some
Artists.
streams from old people.
All right, well, let's have a little some closing thoughts, right? In conclusion, popular music and non-popular music do have significant difference,
Absolutely.
right?
There's a difference between them
and
for sure.
it'd be safe to say that you two are more inclined to see non-popular music as better.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. Well, I think we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, at least, about the whole ins and outs of the industry. And I'm glad that you guys are here to tell me about this.
Yeah, no
for
problem, man.
sure. But unfortunately, our time is up. So thank you guys for come joining me for this
No problem.
little show. And thank you, listeners.
Anchor is the anchor, and it's gonna make you thankful that you're here.